Hey everybody, Melissa with the Prize Foundation. We are back with another incredible prize cast for you, and I have a very special guest with me today. But before we get started, just a big thank you, a big shout out to our sponsors. We could not do this without you, and we love you, and we thank you, and we thank everyone else for being here with us today. And with that, let's get started. So today I have with me Chef John Strand. Hey John, how's it going?
Hi Melissa, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, thanks so much for being with us today. It's great to see you, even if it's through a screen.
Circumstances are what they are, but I mean, thanks to technology, we can at least see each other this way, right?
I know. Hey, you gotta love zooming along, right?
Take what you can get.
So, John, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your business here.
Yeah, sure. Well, Accent's Personal Chef Service has been in business since 2006. I started about 18 months after I retired from the Army. Spent 24 years in the Army and settled in Shreveport. Big story behind that. Not enough time today for it. But anyway, started the business, showed some signs of promise, and so, you know, being relatively nomadic in the Army, you kind of get used to making home wherever your hat is hung, and I hung mine here, and here I am, and here I've been, and here I'll stay.
Well, we're glad to have you. What kind of services does Accent Personal Chef offer? I mean, you're a personal chef, so what does that entail?
Well, you know, I started out just doing fine dining in the home, kind of creating a restaurant alternative, and one thing led to another because people would ask me, hey, you know, have you ever made people's meals for, over a period of a week or whatever. And so the whole prepared meal thing just kind of developed on its own. Ended up creating a fairly large following of clients. But it was really starting to take away from the in-home thing that I really enjoy, the fine dining, the artistry side of it. In-home fine dining is kind of the specialty. It's kind of a restaurant alternative where I essentially come in and create a restaurant atmosphere in the home, prepare everything right there in their kitchen, serve it course by course, clean it all up, pack it up, and leave their kitchen as good as, if not even better than I found it.
I love that. Well, to hear you speak about the artistry makes me really think a lot about your dinners in the Golden Fork series. You are no stranger to the Prize Foundation. I think about these incredible plates, these beautiful creations you do. What has your experience been in the food prize? What is the food prize meant for you?
Well, it's meant a lot. I remember the first time I was asked, I was really thrilled, but kind of nervous because I didn't know anything about what the talent was like in this town, and so it really, right out of the gate, it made me step up my game. It gave me this sort of competitive desire and just really want to come out and demonstrate, hey, the restaurants are fantastic around here. I discovered the great talent around here, but there's also the art alternatives, and it gave me an opportunity to say, this is something that is available to you in this community to do. And so it was a huge benefit to be able to show what it is I do, and simultaneously really show me an appreciation for the extreme amount of talent that's tucked away in our little community.
Yeah, it's really incredible to think about how much creative talent, whether culinary or music or film, is just really located right in this region of our state, of our country. It's pretty cool. And I know you talked about artistry, about fine dining, but you also are no stranger to meal prep, which you kind of talked about too. And I'm hoping maybe today you could share with us like your top 3 tips, because I know I want to get ahead during the week, but I'm sometimes terrible about doing that. So how can I be better? Like, what are your top 3?
Meal prep, first off, it does take a certain amount of organization, but it's just like when you're doing, you and I at a professional level, when we do a meal for people, there's a whole lot of preps that are done up front. it's just a tremendous amount of work that goes on behind the scene. Well, it doesn't have to be a tremendous amount, but there is some work behind the scene that needs to be done. And so my number one thing is sit down whatever day of the week is best for that person and draft out the menu, the actual menu of what you want, whether you're doing lunch, dinner, breakfast, or just dinners, whatever. Draft out your menu, and when it's time to shop, shop specific to that menu. Stay on the perimeters of your grocery stores, stay out of those aisles any more than necessary, and stick to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a list, because if you're a home cook, you like cooking a little bit, you and I, we may be passionate about it, but a lot of people actually enjoy it. And stick to the list. You know what's going to be part of that dish. If you don't, look up a recipe, whatever it is you need to do, but stick to it and shop to that. And then when you get home, break it down in your refrigerator, in your pantry, what have you, in the groups that each meal is going to be using those items that you purchased. And then the other thing that I recommend is actually two types of equipment, one of which I'm going to actually demonstrate today, and maybe you'll see better why I think it's such an essential kitchen equipment item, and that's a blender. A good quality blender. It doesn't have to be an extremely expensive blender or commercial grade or anything. There's a lot of decent blenders out there that'll get the job done. And also a sous vide.
You're recommending sous vide to home cooks. Do you want to, for those who may not be familiar with the technique, do you want to give like a little quick breakdown of what it is?
Yeah, real quick. The sous vide is a water bath circulator. The device, the sous vide as most people refer to it, is a precision circulator, and it keeps the water at an exact temperature, sometimes within a tenth of a degree, which is essential for certain types of food that you might decide to prepare. It's very versatile. You can make everything from yogurt to prime rib with it. So I actually sous vide a brisket the other day. It took me 48 hours, but it worked. But anyway, it's a great device to bring things to a temperature slowly, gently, and retaining a lot of flavor and a lot of moisture.
I love that. I mean, and it is really a great technique, and
and it's economical now. It used to be it was quite expensive, but the devices, you can find a decent sous vide that will serve your average home cook very well for less than $100.
That's actually a pretty fair price. All right, so meal planning, like we set our menu up, we're using blenders and sous vide. What else? What's your last, like, to bring us to the finish line?
Preparing your proteins typically to about, for example, if you want chicken, say 3 times a week, give it a basic season. In other words, a simple salt and pepper, maybe whatever, some garlic, what have you. But just very simple seasonings, and cook it to about an 80% readiness. So, in other words, if it's you cook it for an hour per your recipe that you like to follow, cook it for 45, 50 minutes, and that last 10 minutes will be what's left for you to do when it's time to actually eat it later in the week, and it'll taste like you just made it.
Got it. So kind of leaving it still a little undercooked so that when you reheat it, when you finish it for the meal that you're ready for, it's like cooked to perfection.
Absolutely. It'll be as though it just was all fresh and taken out of the package right then and there and plopped on the plate.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to see what you're going to show us with the blender today, and I'm going to let you hop behind your counter and let's get to it, all right?
I've got 2 proteins. I've got 2 chicken dishes, just like we described, very simply seasoned, and I've got them all plated up. I've got a pan-seared flounder fillet that's plated up, and I've got a nice toasted thin round in lieu of a English muffin for an egg dish that I'm going to do. And so we're going to start with the first blender sauce, which is a kind of a smoky, peppery, not hot, but peppery sauce. It's savory, excellent with both chicken, pork. It will work with the fish, and we're going to do that real quick. What we have here is equal parts of soy and teriyaki sauce. It's about 2.5 tablespoons each. Right here, I've got a little bit of maple syrup. Oh, and in the teriyaki sauce too is just a little touch of some liquid smoke. If you have it, that's cool. If you don't, not a big deal. Then just take a little bit of onion powder, which is about half a teaspoon, equal with the garlic powder. And then I took some time and I had some little frozen peppers and onions and some tomatoes and roasted them up a little bit. We're going to put those in here, just like that. That's it. That's all your components. Just put your lid on. Start off slowly. You can leave this real smooth or a little bit coarse if you like the texture. Let that go, and there you go. That's sauce one.
Ooh, I love that. You weren't kidding.
So we're going to take that, and I'm going to use my chicken dish here. We're just going to plate that, and this is kind of going to give this now a flavor that's going to give me the ability to name the dish a Southwestern chicken.
Awesome. Well, that was super easy. And like, you're right. A lot of those ingredients are right in your pantry.
Yeah, nothing to it.
Perfect. I love that. Simple, easy, smoky, kind of Southwesterny. That's awesome. So what else you got for us? And super fast, I might add.
Yeah, okay. Well, the next one we're going to do is actually kind of a, I like to call it a Hawaiian tropical sauce. This one here is going to be made the same way with the blender. And it's a blend of just canned chunk pineapple.
Okay.
With the juice.
All right. No need to drain.
Don't need to drain. In fact, we don't want to drain. We reserved some of those roasted peppers and onions from the last sauce. We can use it again in this one, and that's a nice economical thing. Just goes to show the versatility of your ingredients. Next thing we're going to use is an Asian garlic chili paste.
So something like sambal or...
Yes, something exactly like that.
All right. That's easy to find.
You bet. Then we use a little bit of teriyaki. This time only about half a teaspoon. And then lastly, give it some depth as well as sweetness. I've got some local Hummer honey right here.
I like where this sauce is already going, like some sweet and some heat.
Yep, a little sweet, a little heat. And this sauce is wonderful for, a lot of things. It will work for your fish, it will work for chicken, pork, and believe it or not, it's actually pretty tasty if you put it on like a fried egg or poached egg or even scrambled eggs in small amounts.
Awesome. Let's blitz this sucker.
So we got everything in the blender. We're going to hit her again. This one you want to make nice and smooth. So I'm going to crank it up to nuclear power. Let it go for about 10-12 seconds. And that is that. Then you have a nice, smooth, sweet, slightly spicy sauce. Oh yeah. I should do this for a living. And we're going to put that one over our chicken. And so we have a Hawaiian tropical chicken. We're also going to put this one on a little bit of some saffron rice on the next dish that I've reserved, or I got ready rather. This one is the Hollandaise Sauce. Now the one key is everything goes in your blender, your ingredients. Your ingredients, in this case, I'm going to use 2 eggs,
Okay.
One stick of butter that is melted, a teaspoon of lemon juice, a little bit of white pepper, some fleur de sel, kosher salt, table salt, it'll all work. A little bit of Dijon mustard, and I've got 2 poached eggs. I'm going to put it all in here, but the big key is that when you add your butter to this, butter is just at boiling.
So everything goes in except for your poached eggs and except for your hot butter.
Right.
All right.
So everything goes in, and we're going to aerate or incorporate this and kind of aerate it, lighten it up a little bit. While that's going, I'm going to pull my hot melted butter out, and we're going to start adding that to it in a nice steady stream. We're creating emulsification, but the other thing is blenders create friction and they will heat. In fact, a high-powered blender will heat almost to a boiling point. So, all right. Got our butter. Those are whole eggs, by the way. Normal Hollandaise is made of separated eggs and egg yolks. These are whole eggs. I think it actually makes it a little more light, frothy. Let that go for about 15 to 20 seconds until we get to the right texture. Making it what they often call a ribbony, whatever the heck that is. Oh, I love the power. That's good. And there we have it. I could go a little bit longer.
So what are you looking for when you're testing for blender hollandaise?
The consistency of what I know to be hollandaise, which should be, when you take a spoon, and we refer to it oftentimes in the industry as, reach a ribbony state. You can basically dip your spoon in and lift it, gently pouring at the same time, and you should have one steady string as though it were, connected from top to bottom. So we're going to let this go just a little bit longer. Normally it takes about 20 to 30 seconds total time, and that's provided if the butter is at a boiling or near boiling point. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there's that ribbon, huh?
Yeah. Okay, now we have our Hollandaise sauce. We're going to pour that, a little bit of that on the flounder that I told you about. This goes excellent with fish. And then I'm going to take my 2 poached eggs, put those on top of my toasted thin. Boom. Breakfast.
I love that. And you think about hollandaise, it can be a little intimidating for folks because, you're whisking the whole time. You want to keep your eggs warm, but not too warm. You got to slowly drizzle in the butter because you don't want to go too fast or you'll break it. So blender hollandaise, that's probably
easy.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Really, really easy, and I guarantee you, your average home consumer will find it every bit as enjoyable as if they put forth that, the countless amount of time in making the traditional hollandaise. It's a recipe, but it's also an emulsification. We know it is one of our 5 base mother sauces and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just going to say it's buttery good.
Well, John, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us today, for showing us these sauces. You're right. A lot of people would make a meal in that time, and you've just knocked out 3 quick sauces. So thank you so much. We're so glad to have you.
Hey, my pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and hope to see everybody again personal and up front.
So before we head out, any words to share with your friends, your colleagues, chefs, your fans? Any words to send folks out with?
Sure. My chefs and friends and colleagues, hold on, guys. This is all going to pass, and we're all going to be back hard at it, pleasing the crowds. I have no doubt. I'm here to help if somebody needs anything. They're free to call me. To my friends, love you. My fans, however many I got, I think I'm up to 4. Love all 4 of y'all. And anyway, I'm looking forward to see you. And I know the most important thing is Viva la Food Prize.
John, you beat me to it. Well, Viva to
I
you,
knew
John.
it.
And we'll see y'all all next time. Thanks again. And we'll see you at the next prize cast.